I am an artisan printmaker. I am currently based in Providence, Rhode Island. As was shared in my bio, I'm particularly interested in using interactive forms of prints as a means of engaging non-science audiences with the complexities of soil science. I particularly appreciated the invitation that Susan and MJ gave us to bring all of our senses to the ground during this blue moon, because this piece that I'm going to share with you is really about all the sensations associated with salt marsh soils. So just to introduce my work a little bit, I use puzzles, installations, and other forms of interactive prints as points of entry for visually and physically experiencing the complexities and dynamic qualities of soil genesis. I find that the patterning and multiplicity that's inherent to printmaking is an apt creative parallel to the natural patterns and variabilities of soil. So this work has taken a variety of different forms, some of which you can see here, and has been developed out of experiences in several different places, but most recently, Rhode Island salt marshes. So Marsh Senses, the piece I'm going to share with you today, is an interactive multi-sensory installation of quilted cushions and hand-printed fabrics that aims to bring the experience of walking over a salt marsh into the white walls of the gallery. In lieu of being able to have you experience this directly, I have some images and a video that I'd like to share with you today. So just a little bit about the context for this project. I started working in salt marshes in June of 2019 and had the pleasure of following researchers into healthy marshes, degrading marshes, marshes in various stages of restoration, to really get a fuller picture of what these soils look like and behave like. And those field experiences allowed me to see the ecosystem through these researchers' lens, and not only see, but also smell and listen to and experience all the physical sensations that can be indicators of soil health. I really had a lot to learn. I'm from Philly and I had never been to a salt marsh before. I had never experienced a soil like this before with so much organic material. So it was truly a privilege to shadow those researchers. And that summer made it clear to me that if I was going to make art that really effectively communicated about these particular soils, I had to tap into that experiential aspect. So the big question for me became, how can I replicate this experiential knowledge? I think that understanding soils, especially the work that goes into conserving, restoring, and rebuilding, is yes about the explicit knowledge, the biology, the chemistry, and the physics of it, but also about that tacit knowledge, the knowledge you can only get when you experience it and feel it and smell it. So I started thinking about how to bring this experiential aspect into an artwork, into a setting that's distant from this soil and to a new audience. And that's where Marsh Senses developed out of. I'm going to break this down into 3 different sensory elements: the visual, the tactile, and the auditory. So first, the visual. I designed and printed 7 different textiles that kind of visually represent the contributors to, or some of the contributors to, a healthy soil system. So moving from left to right in this image, we have some representations of root density, a few different types of native grasses, hydrology, the geology or parent material, and then some representations of patterns from wildlife, specifically salt marsh sparrows and the mussels. And when these textiles are then quilted together, they become kind of an abstract visual representation of the marsh soil development. The cushions can be puzzled together, as you can see in this left-hand image, in a variety of different combinations, creating new images and in a way referencing the incredible variability of soils. In combination with the visual, there's also the tactile or textural. Each of these fabrics has their own material qualities, which if we were seeing them in person, you could actually feel them. And as you can see, they have like dimensionality to them, and they're actually stuffed with memory foam and recycled paper, so that the installation crunches and gives way underfoot, mimicking that physical sensation of walking over saturated soil with shells and grasses crunching underfoot. So this obviously creates an audible sensation as the paper crunches. And in certain installations of this piece, I've complemented it with audio recordings of salt marshes, which we'll hear in just a couple slides. And these recordings capture both the natural sounds of the marsh and also the sounds of encroaching urbanization. This piece was designed to be installed both indoors and outdoors. So this particular installation was at a space in Providence, Rhode Island, where the cushions were used to create a space for reading. And these particular books are a series of artist books that contain rubbings of 48 square feet of marsh grasses, as well as some motion activated sound elements. And when it's installed in the gallery, my hope is that this installation can point viewers to the salt marsh, an ecosystem and a soil system they may not be familiar with. And when it's installed outdoors and on site, my hope is that this installation kind of highlight the labor-intensive work of restoring and maintaining these soils. This particular image is from a temporary installation at Tillinghast Farm in Barrington, Rhode Island. The location is a really popular beach, but also a salt marsh restoration site. So one summer I was at the beach with some friends and we were talking about salt marshes, and they were like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I've never seen a salt marsh. And I pointed to the marsh like literally 20 feet behind us, and they were like, oh, that field of grass that smells bad. So I was really curious after that experience how bringing this installation to restoration sites may allow viewers to better engage with and understand the concept of marsh restoration and practices like dredging, understand like what has to fall into place for these soils to be rebuilt and kind of preserve this ecosystem, and also understand how human development has fenced these soils in with no place to migrate, so that we're in a position of having to think about how can we save these soils. I had originally hoped to bring this somewhere like Quaney Pond or Ninigret Pond, which are both areas in Rhode Island that are really popular beaches that abut a restoration site. But sadly, COVID changed those plans. But I did, however, get a chance to record a short site-specific performance, also at Tillinghast Farm, where I carried an armful of these cushions across the beach, where people were enjoying their beach day, and then began to arrange the cushions where the beach met the restoration site. So I'll share just 30 seconds of the recording on the next slide.
We'll see what it's like down there. You tell me.
So I'm going to share just 30 seconds of this recording, but I believe the full recording is in the green room.
Well, next time you go grocery shopping, can you buy me
So that performance, the actual video from it, like I said, was recorded at Tillinghast Farm in Barrington, Rhode Island. The audio was actually recorded at Hale Farm Preserve in Warren, Rhode Island, and that is completely unedited audio. all those sounds were happening at the same time, at the same place. So if you listen closely, you'll obviously hear bird calls, but also there's a jackhammer, and then also a jet engine, all happening right near this salt marsh. Hopefully I'll get a chance to share this piece in person soon again. My intention with it was to create a space where the viewer could think more critically about human impact on and interaction with soils. Oops. There we go. In the meantime, this piece is making its way around the States in a static form. It's currently on view at the National Museum of Wildlife Art in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. And I am working on other interactive pieces, trying to figure out what that looks like in COVID, but looking forward to taking part in conversations with some soil scientists, social scientists, policymakers, and others here in Rhode Island as we think about how to creatively and effectively share about marsh restoration efforts. So thank you.